Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock at the Molineux, Wolves take on West Ham United, or it's the Matt Jarvis derby. Matt, how you doing?
I'm very well, thank you.
We've just got Matt joining me here today. We're going to talk a little bit about Wolves, a bit about West Ham and how he sees Saturday afternoon going. But let's start with the home side, Matt. Wolves, a bit of change in the summer for them, but how do you think they're getting on so far?
It's been a difficult start. Obviously, losing the first few games is not ideal with a new manager, but I think that he's completely changed the philosophy, the mentality, and the actual sort of style of play, which I think the fans can sort of appreciate, that they've seen the results are starting to pick up. I think it's more the performances that they can start seeing the change that he's installing. Obviously a disappointing last game out against Palace, losing there, but before that they'd started picking up quite a few results, which for them is good, because it's going to be a difficult season for them.
How do you think Bruno Lage is getting on so far?
I think it's always going to be difficult going in there after Nuno's done such a good job for the last 4 years, and I think the team, that they were going through sort of a transition anyway. I think Nuno was trying to change them from that counter-attacking side to a bit more possession-based. And I think obviously injuries play a big part, and Jimenez being out. And now you've got Traore that's not really featuring, whether that's down to contract, whether that's down to him not actually performing. It's who knows. But he had a tough job on his hands to start with, but I think you can just sort of see the improvements that he's trying to install into the team, and I think it just takes a little bit of time. I think this year was always going to be a transition, and mid-table is where they probably will be finishing and would like to finish.
Two players I can ask you about. First one is Adama Traore. The reason is, for people that don't know, Gonzo, the other half of Hammershack, loves Adama Traore. I can't stand him. Right? I don't get it. I don't get it, but he loves him. He thinks he's one of the best wingers in the league. I think he's a very effective dribbler, and that's about it. As a former winger yourself, what's your opinion on Adama?
I think if you'd asked me a few years ago, it would have been sort of a speedboat, no driver, that sort of thing. He's so quick and strong, and he just didn't have that end product. But I think you can, maybe even you can sort of say that the last few years you can see that improvement in his end product. His link-up play with Jimenez over the past few years has been great. And I feel that, with Jimenez being out injured for a while, he suffered a bit, and Neto being injured as well. He sort of felt like the burden's on him to effectively do everything. And you can sort of see that in the performances. He's trying to pick the ball up, have a wrestle with everyone, then try and get around 4 or 5 people and score. So it's been a tough time for him. But he's, if any defender would hate to play against him, because he's got so much power, so much pace, and he's got end product now. So it's just for him, it's just getting the minutes on the pitch and having the players around him that he can, for instance, Jimenez, he needs him to be in the team because he's got no one to cross it into otherwise. But them having Hwang and Jimenez now gives them an option to have Traore in the team.
I'm going to ask you about Hwang as well, because West Ham were linked to him heavily in January to replace Sebastian Haller. Obviously, nothing come of it. We're linked sporadically in the summer, but nothing too serious. He's obviously gone to Wolves, got his name on the score sheet a few times as well. What do you make of his impression at Wolves so far?
I think he's been perfect for Wolves. He's sort of their typical player, I would say. He's got good touches, he's got good movement, but he works hard for the team first and foremost. Whether he's playing up front or if he's playing on the wing, he's chasing fullbacks, back the other way, helping his teammate out. And he's got an eye for goal. You've seen him; he's popped up with a few good goals recently, and I think it just helps the dynamic of the team. They needed some help from him for Jimenez, and he's been a really shrewd signing for them.
And for West Ham fans who don't watch much of Wolves, is there any other players individually that's perhaps on a good season that we need to keep an eye out for?
To be honest, they've not really impressed as much as they have in the past, but obviously Jimenez is coming back into form. Hwang, you got Trincao up top as well, who's got great ability. It's just, I think Wolves have struggled to put a 90 minutes performance together. They have it in fits and starts, 20 minutes here where they look really good, and then it sort of fizzles away. So they've got really good attacking players. It's just hard for them to get everyone in. Like I'm a big fan of Podence as well, but he just doesn't seem to really get into the team as much or as often as everyone, well, as I would like. But whether that's down to injuries or performances, who knows?
Anyway, let's talk about West Ham then. What do you make of our season? We're sitting third in the league. We're through into Europa League, quarterfinals of the League Cup. You already know that. Just like repeating it, remind myself of anything. What do you make of our season so far?
Oh, it's not been too bad, has it? It's been. I mean, what a fantastic start to the season. That you can just see I think it's the enthusiasm, the happiness of the team, of the squad, and the manager, and that is some doing. Dave Moyes has done a fantastic job since he's come back. He's sort of built his team. You can see that everyone knows their roles and responsibilities in that team. Everyone is pushing in the right direction, and you just sort of think and you watch, and even games where you think, oh, it could be a bit of a tight game or could struggle, just blowing teams away, and you can just see it happening. And that's down to David Moyes. That's down to the players. It's a real riding that wave of momentum of winning games, which is no better feeling. And I think that it's not, you can't really pick out one player. They're all sort of playing at their peak at the moment. I love watching, Declan Rice is playing exceptional. Bowen has been really good. I think him and Fornells, they've really come to life. They've really helped the team defensively, but they've got that on their break. West Ham have started to get into maybe a bit of a counter-attack inside because they've got great pace to go forward. Ben Rama's taken his opportunity. Lingard not being there, he's filled that void, and he's a special player. He's showed glimpses, and now he's starting to perform week in, week out, which is huge because it takes the pressure off Antonio as well. Because the big thing for West Ham this season, which is working so far, is trying to manage him and trying to keep him fit, because he's a threat and he's a handful for anyone. And keep him fit, and it makes West Ham season so much better. Ogbonna being injured, it's not a worry to a degree. He's been exceptional, but the signing of Zuma seems like a really good deal now. It's just whether, because he sort of will move over to the left, and potentially Dawson coming in, and it's just having that left-footed left centre half, which has been a luxury really having for Ogbonna. But hopefully it won't make too much of a difference. Zuma moving over.
You spoke there about like this sort of the team morale, if you like, at the minute. You outside looking in, the spirit, the morale of the side, and every player seems to be happy and enjoying it. How big a difference does it make to you as a footballer that when it is that environment to play in?
Huge. You can when times are getting a little bit hard, you can look around and think, I'm going to work hard for my mate, because we're in this together. Obviously you should be doing that anyway, but when you've got a changing room like they'd have, and they're all celebrating together, everything is like the team. One person scores, everyone's delighted, and that's how it should be, and it just spurs everyone else on as well. I think, because they're playing, someone's playing well, you think, well, I need to raise my game, I need to be at that level. And it just sort of keeps everyone on their toes as well. And the thing that they've also done is they've got a bit more of like a steady starting 11, which David Moyes obviously likes. There's change with Ogbonna now, but it's that steady. So everyone sort of knows everyone's game as well, which helps massively. But as long may it continue, they're in exceptional form, and riding that wave of enjoyment as well.
Possibly a silly question. I'm going to ask it anyway. Do you think West Ham can get fourth this season? Do you feel that fourth in Premier League is up for grabs given the sort of mess at Old Trafford as we speak?
It's definitely a possibility. The only problem for West Ham would be injuries, and depending on how far they go in the Europa League, to be honest, because the squad's not huge, but at the moment, you look at every game and you just think, not sure, and then they just go and prove you wrong. They go and win, and comfortably. in these games. You know, beating Liverpool as well was a huge show of, you know, not arrogance, but like everyone thinks they're going to come and just take points of us, and they're not. And that's a real big confidence booster. So fourth is up for grabs, yes. West Ham to get fourth at the moment, it's a real possibility. Just got to hope that injuries stay low, and that, you know, because if you do well in other competitions, it's only going to spur you on for the league. It's just going to hope that no one sort of fatigues and it sort of fizzles out towards the end.
Saturday afternoon then, let's take a look ahead at Saturday afternoon, take on Wolves, 3 o'clock at the Molineux. How do you see this one going? And before you say be a close game, because I know you're respectful about both teams, but you smile a bit more when you talk about West Ham than you do Wolves.
I think you look at the performance last year. I know Lingard was there, but you sort of blew Wolves away a little. Really, it was 3-2 in the end, but I think that's the sort of performance that West Ham will show again. It's hard, you know, coming out after international break and all sort of getting started again. But I said before, you know, I looking for, oh yeah, they've come off a really good result. Next one's going to be, it's going to hard to keep that level, and they just keep producing it. So at the moment, you know, it's West Ham that are favourites to go and win. I can see it being, I would say, a close game, because it's always hard after the international break. So I would say that Wolves as well, playing sort of back to a three at the back, and they've sort of put in some good displays, kept the goals out as much as they possibly can. So I think it will be a bit more tight than the high scoring 3-2 like last time. But I still think it'll be a West Ham win.
Score prediction?
2-0 or 2-1, I would say.
I'll let you have 2. Don't worry about it. Well, listen, Matt, thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate it massively. I hope you've enjoyed it. You guys at home, you've enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel. I've been Gio, that's been Matt Jarvis, we've been Ham's Chat. I'll catch you in a bit.